surgery?
I have not spoke to him yet today. I talked to him last night. I know the surgery went this morning. It got out of it a little bit ago. I just finished with the team though and started this. I'll get to him as soon as I'm done with you guys.
After looking at your film, how did you feel like the offense performed last night?
I thought they did some real good things. You know, obviously we got to do better in the red zone. Having that fumbled snap down there, I think the third and goal and the 2 was a big one. The first series down there, we need to come away with points, not 3. But I thought we did a real good job running the ball. Just a collective effort from everybody to everyone who did do it, and the number of runs that we got just showed it. We did a good job on third down and things like that. So overall, I was happy, but definitely wanted to do better.
Kyle, a year ago you spoke to Ed Werder about Trey Lance and said, quote, he's not Lamar Jackson. Trey is a quarterback who has the ability to run, but to just line him up and run him, the game's too physical. Can you just explain what you meant by that, considering Lance ran 37 times in 3 starts?
Yeah, that means we didn't want to move him to running back. It means that everything's with a read principle, and that you don't go out there and just run him every single play. He's a quarterback who can run. I also think that was in reference to asking if Trey could help us out at running back last year because of all our injuries to it. And no, we weren't going to move him there.
Fair enough. Thank you.
With Tyler's price injury, you talked about the last week how you need the running backs, your young running backs, to kind of grow up on the fly and be better without the ball. Speaking of Jordan Mason, how would you yourself?
Sorry, what was the end of that?
So Jordan Mason is the next young running back, and also you have Marlon Mack. How is Mason practice over the next week, and do you feel comfortable throwing him in there now?
He needs to now. I thought last week was his first week getting a lot more of that, him and Ty. And I thought they both stepped it up in that area. I thought JP had his best special teams game, did a real good job on special teams. Ty did it early in the game, but he didn't know about it, neither did we. So we never knew that he was hurt. He didn't, so he was able to go most of the game, so JP didn't get in there on offense. But we'll have to be ready this week now.
Kyle, how would you assess Jeff Wilson Jr.'s performance? Just one of his better games, especially since last year he was out for half the year.
Yeah, I thought Jeff was a stud. You could see it on the first 2 runs of the game. I didn't think they were, blocked that well. Just the fronts that they were in. They came out with 6 picks in the game, and just to watch the way that Jeff got, I think, 6 yards on the first run and 6 on the second, for some tough looks. You could just see how hard he was running, and what Jeff does when he doesn't have the ball is really good too. He helps us out in a ton of ways.
Kyle, is the plan to bring in a few more running backs this week for workouts?
Yes. Yeah, we didn't know about Ty until a little bit later. But we got to get on that. We know we had some in last week, and we're going to bring in a group again.
Kyle, on that same subject, how did Marlon Mack kind of acclimate last week, and what's his state of readiness from your point of view?
I thought he did a good job. He looked good in practice. He got mainly scout team reps, but he looked like he'd been around, carried himself the right way, and you can see the skill set that has given him some success in this league.
The defense held Seattle to 36 yards rushing. What did you see from them in the game last night?
They were great. To hold a team like that, especially with some of their runners and their commitment to it. They didn't. In order to do that, you can't give up a big one. You can stuff people all day, but usually someone can crease through there a little bit. And I think our biggest one was like 8 yards. I know they averaged in the low 2s, so it was a hell of a job by the defense. Allowed them to get to third down, and that's usually where we're the best, where we do our best.
Kyle, did you have to constrain some of the play calling for Jimmy last year when he was playing with those two injuries hurt? And, by extension, yesterday, how nice was it to have him back healthy and with full confidence and ability to throw downfield?
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, you always got to. When guys have certain things, quarterback especially, but all players, you always want to know what they can do the best, what they're hurting from, and you always try to put them in the best situation possible. And Jimmy had a number of games where he wasn't 100% healthy, but he got him back fully yesterday, and I was glad that he was ready. He came in there, I thought did a hell of a job for us, and was real pivotal in helping us get that win.
Because Jimmy's so familiar with the offense, he said that he got some play calls that he wasn't familiar with, but you felt you were comfortable enough with him being out there just because he's so familiar?
No, that's the case for the number 2 quarterback all the time. There's plays that they don't get a rep. They just get to see the starter rep it. You try to get them on the side, you try to get them on air. They do a lot of stuff. They try to carry over to the looks for the defense that they try to give, but very rarely does the second team guy get any reps, let alone rep all the plays. So there's a few plays that he had to do for the first time out there, and he did them well.
Hey, Kyle, on the 4th and 9 from the 39, was that, I guess, was the idea either that was going to be an interception or a touchdown? Was that the idea there?
No. That's something that that's like a big analytics thing there, that to go for that situation, just because the probability of how many yards that you're gaining with a touchback inside, or a touchback versus a punt inside the 10, but it's not something I always go with. It kind of depends on the feel of the game. I felt really good about, we just got a turnover. I really wanted to capitalize on that turnover. Liked our 3rd down play. We came up just short. Really liked our 4th down play that we had. Thought it would work, and it didn't. But no, we weren't trying to just throw a pick there. We were trying to move the chains and get a big play, and it didn't work out. So I'd love to have that back, but the defense saved us because they ended up getting a turnover on that drive.
Kyle, how did you...
With Trey, obviously, the surgery being done now, what is, I don't know if you've got this far, but what is the plan for him in terms of, how much he'll be around, where he'll do his rehab, things like that?
I'm sure he's going to be around here all the time and do his rehab here. We haven't even discussed that, but I'd be shocked if it wasn't that case. So, right now, he's just, got out of surgery a little bit ago. I know we're all just kind of worried about him and making sure that he's doing all right mentally and physically. We'll talk to him here real soon. I know some guys have been over there to already visit him. But yeah, we're not sure yet, but as soon as he can get back in here and start rehabbing, we're going to want him a part of everything. Every meeting he can be at, every practice he can be at. I know he's not going to be able to do all of that because of how much he's got to rehab, but especially in those meetings and stuff, we don't plan on Trey being away from us at all. Whenever he's not taking care of his ankle, we plan on being with us.
Is the expectation that he'll be ready for week 1 next year, or is it too soon to say?
I would assume so. I don't think it's that long of I haven't actually got to talk to the doctors exactly after the surgery, but I've never heard them saying that it would be that long.
Kyle, how do you feel where you guys are at in terms of pass protection right now, especially with the 3 new guys in the middle?
I think they've done a real good job these last 2 games. In protection. I feel like we've had time to throw. I feel like we've had very few free hitters, and I've been very pleased in these first 2 weeks.
Kyle, I have a sense you'd like another quarterback running question.
I'm good with it. Actually, the more the better, so I can help educate.
I'm eager to get your tutorial here. As far as, given the situation now with Jimmy and obviously Brock Purdy, who believe in, but obviously he's totally inexperienced behind him. I realize, look, it's simple as you say, but do you have any, did you have any kind of trepidation about calling a quarterback sneak with kind of the game in hand at the end there with Garoppolo?
You think a drop back play is more risky than a quarterback sneak. So those are the things that really confuse me. I see guys get killed in the pocket on drop backs, and I've never had a quarterback get hurt on a sneak before. It doesn't mean it can't happen. It is football, and that's what I mean by that. You can get hurt on any single play. It seems that we only get interested when he's carrying the ball of where he gets injured, and that's the whole thing. That there's a risk reward with everything, but I mean, to now throw in sneaks in there too because of the time in the game is really surprising to me.
What about the zone read for Jimmy Garoppolo down by the goal line? I mean, that was much more dangerous than a quarterback sneak.
Yeah, we gotta read the DN a little bit better and get some work at that. So yeah, when the DN does take the quarterback, you hand it off. So that's stuff we got to do. But like, that's a very normal play in all of football at all levels for everybody. You guys should see some of the. I'm surprised you guys haven't seen some of the quarterbacks run zone read on us. When Andy Dalton walks in the end zone from the 10-yard line, or Kirk Cousins does, or a lot of the guys who do run that stuff, and when you're not accounting for the quarterback, it's pretty normal thing.
Are you looking more just surprised because there was no backup? Because, you know, Trey was already, that's the only reason people were surprised by it. The score, the time of the game, the fact that Kyle Juszczyk was the next man up. And you said you wanted the question, so we just putting it out there. But I think that's enough.
Oh, yeah, no, it's a great question. That's why we did it. To surprise you guys. Usually when people are surprised, it works for them.
Kyle, you suggested that, I mean, you said Brock Purdy would be the number 2 if you didn't get Jimmy back. I assume he's the number 2 now. Does that mean that you have full confidence that if you needed him to play, if you need him to start a bunch of games, you have full confidence in Brock Purdy?
Yeah, that's why we chose him as our number 2 going in the year. And I mean, and I feel great about Brock regardless. But I mean, there's not just like a store where you just go get quarterbacks at any time. Same thing with running backs. So, you know, it's like every other position, guys. When guys get hurt, who's on your roster and then who's on your practice squad. And we had 3 quarterbacks in our roster, fortunately. So that's why I'm very glad that we didn't risk Brock and lose him, because that'd be a huge problem right now. That's stuff that we had to do with backs, so we could do it with the quarterback, and that's the position that you end up getting in. So it's close to happening to us at tight end. So now we're here at quarterback, and we'll see what's out there. We definitely need to get a guy in here for practice squad, because we do need a third man up in case something happens, because he's 1 play away from being the backup, and he's 2 plays away from being our starter. So you got to plan that at every position, and quarterback obviously being the most important.
Yes, I was asking more about Purdy. Did you just see things in him in the preseason or in practices that told you this guy's more advanced than I thought he was?
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, we saw it in practice pretty consistently. You know, I mean, we liked him, obviously. That's why we took him where we did. But when he got here, just the plays he made in practice, kind of the consistency, when you get thrown out there not knowing a lot as a rookie, and that third guy doesn't get many reps, and the lack of hesitation he played with, and the way you could tell that he played like a guy who had played for 4 years and started 4 years of college. And then when he got in those preseason games, I think you guys saw kind of what I'm talking about. It wasn't always good and it wasn't always perfect, but the guy reacted and made plays and showed the game wasn't too big for him, and he's got the ability to do it, and we saw it through college, and we've seen it here, and you know, you hope that he can sit and rest and just watch these other guys and be ready, but the guy's a confident person, and we've really liked what we've seen here, and I think the players feel the same way as I do.
Was George Kittle close to playing Sunday?
Yeah, he was close. That's why we took it that far. But obviously he wasn't able to go, and I'm glad we didn't, because I think he could have got through the game, but there was going to be a higher risk of him re-injuring that, and to be able to pull that game off and still get a win, then I'm very glad with the decision we made, and that should give him a much better chance to be good to go this week.
Anything else? Yeah, last week, I talked about you guys needing to finish better on defense, and obviously you didn't allow an offensive touchdown. What goes through your mind when you watch the defense? Because punt, you guys do a good job of finishing. And then I guess my next question is, what's one way that you feel like you guys did better on that side of the ball?
What's the way that we did do better?
But I want to know what's one way you can get better.
My favorite things about this game is I thought it was similar to Chicago, because I thought we were close to having a dominant performance for Chicago. But every time they got one good play, whether it was from a penalty or an off-schedule play, we didn't really make the plays after that to recover. And no matter how good you play, you're still going to give up some stuff. That's what you do after that. And you always try to say it doesn't count until they cross that goal line. And I looked at yesterday, I think it was like play 15 or 13. They got their first explosive hit and lock it, outside the numbers in a little play action play. And then right after that, the next play, I think Greenlaw had a TFL in the flat, took care of it, made it 2nd and 12, and then the play after that, Huff undercut and tipped it and got a pick. So we responded with a huge turnover after a play. Later in the day, they got their one off-schedule play where the quarterback broke the pocket. We ended up dropping a guy and chasing him, similar to the Chicago game, and he hit Lockett across the field. They got him in the red zone. And then I love that we recovered with a pick there on the goal line on the trick play by Mooney. So it's things like that, the standard of how we play, there were some good things with that in Chicago, but it didn't matter. We still gave up 3 touchdowns. And I saw the similar stuff yesterday, but the defense tightened up. And when there was a good play by their team, we just made a better play the following 3 downs.
Cool. All right, everyone. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.